going to show you guys how to properly clean a Branzino, the American version. Okay, so we've got the Branzino here. They typically have the spines, but we have already clipped off the fins off there. They're already pre-gutted here, and they're already pre-scaled, so they have no scales on them whatsoever. And so all we're gonna need is a knife, pair of pliers. I like the ones with the bent needle nose, and then a nice pair of kitchen shears. Another thing that you're gonna need is hot water. This is gonna really help with the cleaning of the fish and taking off the bones when we get to that moment. So first thing we need to do, obviously we need to have a nice sharp knife. Okay, clean it off. As you can see, the spine runs down the middle here. There's flesh in all the meat we want on this side, and there's flesh that we have that we want to meat on this side. We want to take all the flesh off, and so with the Branzino, most of the time people cut the fish and they cut off the fillet like that, and on the other side. That's not what we're going to do with the Branzino. What we want to do is we want to remove the bones from the inside and have the fish laying flat open with the meat showing up and the nice crispy skin on the bottom. Most people will serve their Branzinos with the head on, cracked open, laid flat like that. That's a traditional way, but we're not going to do it like that. We like to serve ours down on the plate so that it's easy, the flesh exposed, and then we're going to put the veneer sauce over the top of it. That's how we like to do it here. So with that explanation, we're going to get started. Bone runs down the center here. We don't want to cut down the center. We need to cut just on this side here, and we also need to cut this side here. It's going to allow us to expose the spine, leave the protein on this side, leave the protein on that side, just the spine, and then we'll take the scissors and we'll cut out the spine, and we'll be left with just the fish and remove all the bones. And it's going to be perfect. So here is how we're going to do that. First things first, I like to grab right here with my thumb here, because there's this dorsal fin that we need to get there. And we need to make sure that our knife is on the top side of the entire spine. And so what I do is I just take a nice little incision here and run it right along this dorsal fin right here all the way along. Typically I'll actually like put my hand here and we'll get it in there. We run it right across, up under the bone. The bone runs right here. Now I'm hitting like the technical spine of it. And so I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna curve it around nicely. Staying on the left side of the fish. So now we've got it nice and tight. Now we're starting to hit the rib bone, upon which now we need to break and crack the rib bone. Not in the center, because we're never gonna do that. We're gonna crack it to the right side of it. With a little bit of pressure and a nice sharp knife, we should be able to cut right through that rib bone, staying along the spine as much as possible with the knife. Okay, we're gonna continue on because now we're getting down to this the flesh is starting to separate right here. We want to make sure we take our knife around that fleshy part because we want that to eat it. We're going right down the ribs all the way down the spine. We're not done yet. It's still connected. The flesh is still connected here. We have to continue to cut through that, right, separating the spine fin that runs along the top from the actual flesh. It's very important. And then down here, continue on. And now we have actually separated the flesh from the complete spine. And now all we have left to do is do it to the other side. And that's what we're gonna do right now. So I flip the fish over, put my hand nicely firm on the fish. What that's gonna do is it's gonna allow that protein to become firm so that's easier for my knife to make the incision. Okay, again, I will start my cut right here. I'll grab it like I did before. I want to be on this side of the dorsal fin, and I start my incision there. Once I've started, then I put my hand down with applied pressure. And unfortunately, there's some scales here, and that's okay if there's scales here, because sometimes when they come from the fishmonger, sometimes the fish aren't scaled all the way, and underneath this dorsal fin, sometimes they do miss it, and sometimes right here, as you can see, I just picked up some extra scales, and that's okay. You know, it is what it is. We're gonna continue on. Apply pressure, and it's gonna allow that knife to really cut through that protein. Now, we really want longer cuts. Okay, if we're gonna be scissoring it, we're gonna be cutting the flesh left and right. We don't wanna do that. So now that we've cut through down to that spinal bone, we're gonna take the tip of that knife. We wanna basically maneuver it around that bone as close to the everything as possible. As close to as close as we can to the actual skeleton and the spine. Now we're coming again. See, now you can start to see it actually start to develop. Now we have removed the spine here, the flesh is coming here, the flesh is coming here. We're still running it along this spine. Again, we need to now we're getting into the rib cage of the fish. Again, we don't want to cut down the middle, we want to cut to the adjacent side over here with our knife. Take a nice, get your pressure here. With a nice sharp knife again, you should be able to crack right through those bones with a nice knife. Again, now that we're through, again, we want to stay along. See this is very important. See, the flesh is going to continue this way. We won't want to cut it straight down because then we're missing a lot of flesh right here. Once we get past this little part, we want to curve the knife and basically get around all that stuff. And that's what I mean by staying as close to the spine as possible. When you stay as close to the spine as possible, you're really ensuring that you're getting maximum amount of flesh and protein from your fish. And in today's economy, it's absolutely imperative that we save every bit of protein. So now that you can see, this is what we've done. Now we've taken our fish that was like this. Now we have removed the flesh from both sides and we're just left with this beautiful, beautiful cut of fish. And that now it's time for us to remove this. So I'm a righty, so I have to do it this way because I cut with my right hand. But this is where we take our nice kitchen shears and we run that shear as close as we can to that flesh without piercing that flesh or cutting the flesh to that bone. And now we're gonna just snip, 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 snip all the way to the end. Once we get down to the end, we don't want to keep snipping. What I like to do is I do fold it over and I cut at an angle. Just like this. So now that it's lying flat on its back, fishtail up, we'll put something under here to flip it up. So that's how you do that. We're not done yet. Save the fish for stock. All right. We're actually done with the scissors. We don't need that anymore. Let's cut our hands. Let's keep our hands dry because we don't want to be using wet hands on a wet knife handle. That's terrible. It's super bad, 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 bad. So we're going to clean our handle, clean the knife. All right. We're not finished, right? So we still have the rib bones we cut through, but we still have these rib bones that are attached to the flesh right here. And so we're gonna have to get that, and we're gonna have to remove that. What I do is I take my knife and I put my knife underneath these bones. These bones run in a line right here, and I try and get my knife underneath all the bones at once, right? And I try and just bury at like a nice angle here and as close to these bones on the top side. So once I get my knife under the bones, I basically are applying back pressure up to the skin. And now I'm trying to basically pull up the bones and get underneath the skin at the same time. And that's why I keep my hand firmly against my knife. It's very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, but you gotta practice until you get good at it. So now I'm moving the knife, basically trying to cut the bones off of this flesh, and I have successfully now done that. But look how much fat and juiciness that there is left on this fish right here and all that right here. This is a delicious, delicious treat if you get this right. So good if you can eat that. But what I've done is I've effectively moved all the little bones that were here off of that, and this is actually a delicious dish. You take all of these and you throw these in a saute pan. Oh, so crispy, so good. You just gotta be mindful of all the bones anyway. So now we've done that side, now we gotta do it to the other side. So I gotta flip it over. I'm gonna do the same exact thing like I did before. Try and get all my knife underneath all the bones to start. And then I'm gonna basically make my incision, getting through those bones. And then again, like I said, applying back pressure up with my hand on it and very firmly moving my knife against the bones until the bones come off. And again, all the bones come off together in a string. Throw down that deliciousness. Now there's no bones, and look at all the excess fat and all the extras, just deliciousness going on right here without me having to cook that. So that is absolutely perfect. Okay, now we're not done yet still. Now we're worried about the 5 or the 6 bones that run along this inside cage right here. Okay, and this is where the needle nose plier comes into it with the bend. It makes it super easy, and having the warm water. Okay, doesn't have to be hot, just warm water. Putting some warm water really allows you to be able to feel where the bones are. Okay, and that's why I use it. There's always a couple bones on the front side of here, the collar bones. We got to get in there nicely firm, pull it out. Once we do that, dip it in the water, come back, pull it out, dip it in the water. Very good, very clean and effective. As I'm going, I'm feeling where my bones are, and I can see there's a bone here. I can feel it if I don't see it. Pull it out, drip it in, put some water on my finger, go to the next one. Up, there it is. Very simple. Find it, apply very good pressure with your hand, and apply upward force like that. It's the best way to get the bone out. Again, we don't want to disturb the flesh too much with our needle nose plier, and that's why I like the bended needles is the best. Pull them out, very simple like that. Okay, we know that there's 5 that run here. If you don't grab 5, it's in there. So you better go find that bone, or else you're not able to serve that, or your customers are gonna be picking bones out of their teeth all night. And we don't want that. Again, now we're gonna move on to the next side. Okay, again, I'll apply some water so that I can find out just where the bones are. I can even see one sticking out, but if I don't see it, if I run my finger across, I can feel it, and that's what the water is great for. Again, we're gonna come up here into the bun. There's always that front collar bone that we gotta get off. Can't stand that one little bone, and it's always there. Okay, there's always 2. See, I can't see it, but I can feel it. Here it is. This one's a little more of a meatier one. I'll just come with my knife, clean it up, just like that. Okay. Oh, so let's go back in. We're still looking for it. I don't see it. Anyway, I don't feel it. I feel it right there. Boom. Going on. Now we're going on. Oh, there's one right here. I can feel it. I can't see it, but I can feel it. I just know it's there. Just for me knowing that it's there is all I need to know. I'm gonna get that sucker. Nice. There it is. Boom. Just like that. Nice pressure. Once you know you got it, you have to grip it extremely hard, because if you grab it not too hard and you pull it off, you'll rip that tip, the easy tip. And you want that easy tip to be able to get it out. So anyway, so now we're moving on. I think we've got most of them out. Boom. All right. Now that. Now that. Water. One last look. Nothing. Okay, guys, we're good. Scales are gone. Now that, my friends, is a perfectly clean fish of the Branzino, and that's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it. If you have any other questions, please like, subscribe, follow down below. And if you've done a Branzino, or if you've done it any other way, let me know.